The autumn rain pattered against my office window as I stared at the banking app on my phone, my finger hovering over the transfer button. Another week, another $800 going into the family account. I'm Sarah Mitchell, 32, Senior Financial Analyst at Goldman Crown Investments, and for the past 3 years, I've been my family's personal ATM. Miss Mitchell. My assistant's voice snapped me out of my thoughts. The quarterly review meeting starts in 5 minutes. Thanks, Emma. I quickly completed the transfer and grabbed my presentation folder. As I walked to the conference room, my phone buzzed with the familiar notification. Transfer complete, $800 to Mitchell family account. The irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, managing multi-million-dollar portfolios for high-net-worth clients, while my own family treated me like their personal banker. But that's what good daughters do, right? At least that's what Mom always said. I hadn't always been the family's financial backbone. 3 years ago, I was just the ambitious older daughter who'd abandoned the family for a career in the big city. Everything changed when Dad's construction company went under during the recession. They were about to lose the house I grew up in, the one with the crooked oak tree where my sister Jessica and I had built countless tree houses. I still remember that desperate late-night call from Mom. "Sarah, honey, I hate to ask, but..." Her voice cracked. "We're 3 months behind on the mortgage. They're going to foreclose." I just received a substantial promotion bonus. Without hesitation, I'd said, "I'll help. How much do you need?" That was my first mistake. The second was believing it would be temporary. What started as a one-time bailout evolved into a weekly commitment. First, it was for the mortgage, then for Jessica's college tuition, then for Mom's medical bills, and eventually, it just became expected. Every week, like clockwork, $800 disappeared from my account into theirs. "We'll pay you back once things improve," Dad would say, not quite meeting my eyes. Things never improved. I set up the joint account to have some oversight of where the money was going. Mom insisted on having her name on it too. For emergencies, she said. I agreed, wanting to trust my own mother. That was my third mistake. The conference room was already full when I arrived. I pushed my family concerns aside and focused on the presentation. This was my element: numbers, projections, strategic planning. Here, at least, I was respected for my expertise. "Excellent work as always, Sarah," my boss, David, said after the meeting. "The Anderson portfolio's performance under your management has been exceptional. Have you considered the VP position opening up next quarter?" I had. The promotion would mean a significant pay increase, more responsibility, and more money for my family to depend on. The thought made my stomach clench. "I'll think about it," I said diplomatically. Back in my office, I found 3 missed calls from Mom and a text. "Call ASAP. Big news about Jessica." Jessica, my younger sister by 4 years, the family favorite, the one who could do no wrong. While I was the responsible one who helped with bills, Jessica was the free spirit who'd changed majors 3 times before settling on art history. Now she worked part-time at a gallery, living in our parents' basement, supposedly saving money to start her own business. I called Mom during my lunch break. "Sarah, finally?" Mom's voice bubbled with excitement. "You'll never believe who Jessica ran into at the coffee shop yesterday." My heart skipped a beat. Something in her tone made me uneasy. "Who?" "Daniel. Can you believe it? After all this time." The sandwich I'd been eating turned to ash in my mouth. Daniel, my ex-fiancé, the man who'd left me at the altar 2 years ago, claiming he wasn't ready for commitment. "That's interesting," I managed to say. They really hit it off. They talked for hours, and he asked her to dinner tonight. Isn't it wonderful? Wonderful wasn't the word I would use. Betrayal seemed more accurate. Jessica knew what Daniel had done to me. She held me through countless nights of tears, helped me cancel wedding arrangements, and promised she'd never speak to him again. "Mom, are you serious? After what he did?" "Oh, honey." Mom's voice took on that condescending tone I'd grown to hate. "You need to let that go. People change. Besides, maybe it was for the best. You're so focused on your career, you barely have time for relationships anyway." I ended the call shortly after, claiming a meeting. My hands were shaking as I set down the phone. This was classic Jessica and classic Mom defending her. When we were growing up, Jessica would often take my things: clothes, makeup, books. Mom always said I should share, that I was the older sister, that I should be more understanding. But Daniel, this was a new low, even for them. The rest of the workday passed in a blur. I kept checking my phone, half expecting more wonderful news about Jessica and Daniel's coffee shop reunion. Instead, I got a text from Jessica herself. "Sis, can we talk? There's something I need to tell you." I agreed to meet her at a cafe near my apartment after work. As I waited, I calculated how much money I'd given my family over the past 3 years. The weekly $800 alone added up to over $124,000. Then there were the emergencies: Dad's back surgery, Mom's car repairs, Jessica's student loan payments. Jessica arrived 20 minutes late as usual. She looked nervous, fidgeting with her scarf as she sat down across from me. "So," I said, keeping my voice neutral, "you ran into Daniel." She flushed. "Mom told you." "Of course she did. What do you need to tell me, Jessica?" She took a deep breath. "We've actually been seeing each other for a few months now. Yesterday wasn't a chance meeting. We've been dating since summer." The cafe suddenly felt too small, too hot. "Months? You've been dating my ex-fiancé for months and didn't tell me?" I knew you'd react like this. Jessica's voice rose defensively. "This is why we kept it quiet. You're always so judgmental, so controlling with your money and your perfect job and your perfect life." Controlling? I stared at her in disbelief. "I've been supporting our family for years. I pay your student loans. And you never let us forget it." She stood up abruptly. "Daniel and I are in love, Sarah. Real love, not the cold, calculated kind you're capable of. He's changed, he's grown up, and we're getting married." The word hit me like a physical blow. "Married?" "Yes, married. He proposed last week. We're planning a wedding for spring." She pulled an envelope from her bag and slid it across the table. "Here's your invitation. Though after this reaction, I'm not sure I want you there." I didn't touch the envelope. "Does he know you live in Mom and Dad's basement? That you work part-time? That I pay your bills? Don't you dare ruin this for me." Jessica's eyes filled with tears. "This is my chance at happiness. Daniel says I have a beautiful soul, that I'm not just about money and status like me." I finished quietly. She didn't deny it. After Jessica stormed out, I sat there for a long time staring at the invitation envelope. Finally, I picked it up and opened it. The expensive cream-colored paper, the gold embossing, the spring date at an exclusive vineyard venue. This would cost a fortune. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "Jessica told me about your talk. Why can't you be happy for her? She deserves this. We'll discuss wedding plans at Sunday dinner. The vineyard deposit is due next week." And there it was. The assumption that I would pay, just like I paid for everything else. They weren't even going to ask. They were just going to use the joint account, the account I funded every week without fail. I opened my banking app again, but this time I wasn't making a transfer. I needed to check something in that joint account agreement I'd signed 3 years ago. Because if they thought I was going to finance my sister's wedding to the man who left me at the altar, they had another thing coming. My fourth mistake had been letting them take me for granted. But that was about to change. The joint account agreement was buried in my home office, filed away with other family financial documents. I found it late that night, hands trembling as I pulled it from the folder. 3 years of blind trust, of believing family meant something. What a fool I'd been. The next morning, I called in sick to work for the first time in 2 years. I needed to understand exactly what was happening with my money. Coffee in hand, I logged into the joint account and began downloading statements. The first red flag appeared immediately, a $15,000 withdrawal made 3 days ago. The description read, "Vineyard venue deposit, full-service wedding package." They hadn't even waited to discuss it with me. I dug deeper. Over the past 2 months, there had been multiple large withdrawals. $3,000 to luxury bridal boutique, $2,500 to elite wedding photography, $1,800 to garden rose florist, $4,500 to gourmet catering services. My stomach churned. They'd spent nearly $27,000 of my money already, and the wedding was still months away. But what made me truly sick was a transfer from last week. $5,000 to Daniel Harrison Photography LLC. They were paying him, using my money to pay the man who'd abandoned me at the altar. My phone buzzed. "Mom." "Sarah, honey, are you coming to Sunday dinner? We need to discuss the wedding menu. The caterer needs final numbers by Friday." I took a deep breath. Mom, why didn't you tell me you were using the joint account for wedding expenses? A pause. Well, dear, you always say you want to help the family. This is helping. Jessica deserves a beautiful wedding. And Daniel, you're paying him to photograph his own wedding. He's very talented, Sarah. You're not still holding a grudge, are you? That's so petty. Jessica and Daniel are in love. Mom, that's my money. Money I earned. You should have asked me. Oh, here we go again. Mom's voice turned sharp. Always about the money with you. You make so much, but you're so selfish with it. A good daughter would want to share her success with her family. I closed my eyes, recognizing the familiar guilt trip. But this time, something was different. This time, I was angry. I've shared plenty, I said quietly. But this ends now. I'm closing the joint account. You can't do that. Mom's voice rose in panic. The vendors need to be paid. We've signed contracts. Not my problem. You signed them without my knowledge or consent. Your father will be so disappointed in you. Is this how we raised you? To be cruel to your own sister? Goodbye, Mom. I'll send you information about the account closure. I hung up, blocking her number before she could call back. Then I opened my laptop and began typing an email to my bank's legal department. The joint account agreement was clear. As the primary account holder and sole depositor, I had the right to close the account unilaterally. Within an hour, my phone was flooded with texts. Jessica, how can you do this to me? You're ruining everything. Dad, your mother is crying. Call us immediately. Daniel, Sarah, you're being unreasonable. Let's talk about this like adults. The last one made my blood boil. Daniel, pretending to be reasonable, probably sitting in my parents' house with his arm around my sister, spending my money. I blocked them all. At 3 p.m., my doorbell rang. I checked the security camera to see Jessica standing there, mascara running down her face. Sarah, open up. Please, we need to talk. I pressed the intercom button. No, we don't. You and Mom spent my money without permission. There's nothing to discuss. It was going to be a surprise. We were planning to tell you everything at Sunday dinner. Please, the vendors are threatening to cancel if they don't get their payments. You're destroying my dream wedding. Your dream wedding to my ex-fiancé, planned with my stolen money? Go home, Jessica. You're just jealous, she screamed. Jealous that Daniel chose me. That I'm getting the wedding you never had. I watched through the camera as she finally left, kicking my door for good measure. Her words hurt, but not in the way she intended. I wasn't jealous. I was grieving, not for Daniel, but for the family I thought I had. My laptop pinged with an email from the bank. They needed me to come in person to close the account. I made an appointment for the next morning, then opened my work laptop. I had preparations to make. First, I drafted an email to my boss. David, I've given the VP position considerable thought. I'd like to formally express my interests. However, I need to address a personal situation first. I may require a few days off next week to handle some family financial matters. Best, Sarah. His reply came quickly. Position is yours if you want it. Take the time you need. You've earned it. Next, I pulled up my personal financial records. Besides the joint account, I've been making direct payments for various family expenses. Jessica's student loan payments, $680/month. Mom's car insurance, $200/month. Dad's medical bills, $450/month. Their home internet and utilities, $325/month. All of these were on auto pay. All of them would stop tomorrow. My phone rang again, this time from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Sarah Mitchell. Ms. Mitchell, this is Thomas Wade from Wade & Associates. I'm a lawyer representing Vineyard Valley Estates. We have a contract signed by Linda Mitchell for a wedding venue and services, but the account provided for payment has been frozen. Are you aware of the situation? I sat up straighter. Yes, Mr. Wade. That account is being closed due to unauthorized use. My mother had no authority to sign contracts using my funds. I see, he paused. The contract is in your mother's name, but given the circumstances, you may want to review our cancellation policies. There could be significant penalties. Send them to me, I said, but send them to Linda Mitchell as well. She's the one who signed the contract. After hanging up, I felt a strange sense of calm. For years, I carried the weight of my family's financial needs, believing it was my duty. But watching them plan this wedding, watching them celebrate my ex-fiancé and reward his betrayal with my own money, had finally opened my eyes. The next morning, I walked into my local bank branch at 9 a.m. sharp. The personal banking manager, Mrs. Chen, was waiting for me. "Ms. Mitchell, I have the paperwork ready, but given the amount involved and the family nature of the account, I have to ask, are you sure about this?" I looked at the final account statement. My weekly deposits of $800, meant to help my struggling family, had been funding my own humiliation. "Yes, Mrs. Chen, I'm very sure." As I signed the closure documents, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "Mom using someone else's phone again. The vendors are calling. The venue might sue us. Please don't do this to your sister. We're family." Family. They kept using that word, wielding it like a weapon. But real family doesn't steal from you. Real family doesn't celebrate your pain. Real family doesn't use your money to reward the person who hurt you most. I handed the final form to Mrs. Chen, watching as she stamped it officially closed. It felt like closing a chapter of my life, the chapter where I was the family ATM, the responsible one, the one they could always count on to clean up their messes. "Would you like the remaining balance as a check or transfer to your personal account?" Mrs. Chen asked. "Personal account," I said firmly. "And Mrs. Chen, please make a note that I'm not to be added to any joint accounts in the future without extensive review." She nodded, understanding in her eyes. As I left the bank, I felt lighter, even knowing the storm that was coming. My family would be furious. They would guilt me, shame me, maybe even threaten me. But for the first time in years, their financial problems were not my problems. My phone buzzed again. A message from David. "VP office is yours when you're ready. Salary details attached." I smiled, stepping into the bright morning sun. Let them have their dream wedding, if they could figure out how to pay for it. I had my own dreams to pursue, and for once, I was putting myself first. The week after I closed the joint account was eerily quiet. No calls from unknown numbers, no surprise visits, no tearful confrontations. I should have known better than to think they'd give up so easily. The calm shattered on Sunday morning. I was reviewing documents for my new VP position when my doorbell started ringing incessantly. The security camera showed my entire family, Mom, Dad, Jessica, and even Daniel, standing in the hallway. "Sarah, open this door right now." Dad's voice boomed through the intercom. "We're not leaving until we talk." I pressed the intercom button. "There's nothing to talk about. The account is closed." "Please, honey," Mom pleaded. "The vendors are threatening legal action. The venue wants their money by tomorrow, or they'll cancel everything and keep the deposit. We can't lose this venue. It's perfect for Jessica's special day." "You mean the venue you booked with my money without asking me?" "That's not my problem." "Just listen to us," Daniel's smooth voice joined in. "We can work this out like reasonable people. Remember how we used to solve problems together?" My laugh was bitter. "Like how you reasonably left me at the altar? Or how you reasonably started dating my sister behind my back?" "That was different," he argued. "I wasn't ready then. I've grown. Jessica and I." "Save it," I cut him off. "Security has already been called. You can leave on your own or be escorted out." They left, but not before Mom's parting shot. "I never thought my own daughter would be so heartless. What will the family think when they hear about this?" The family. Of course she'd play that card. Within hours, my phone was buzzing with messages from aunts, uncles, and cousins. "How could you do this to your sister? Family should support each other. Jessica's wedding is a blessing. Why are you ruining it?" I blocked them one by one, then poured myself a glass of wine and opened my laptop. Time to set the record straight. I drafted a simple email. "Dear family, since there seems to be some confusion about recent events, let me clarify. For 3 years, I've supported our family financially through weekly deposits and direct payments. Without my knowledge or consent, Mom and Jessica used my money to plan Jessica's wedding to my ex-fiancé, the same man who abandoned me on our wedding day. They spent over $27,000 of my money on venues and vendors, including paying Daniel himself for photography services. This was done behind my back, using an account I created to help with family emergencies. I have closed this account and stopped all automatic payments. Any contracts signed using my funds were done without my authorization. If you have questions about wedding finances, please direct them to Mom, Jessica, or Daniel. Regards, Sarah. I attached bank statements showing the withdrawals, then sent it to everyone who'd messaged me. The responses were immediate. Oh my God, I had no idea. They're marrying you to your ex? That's cold. $27,000? Without asking. Mom called from another new number. How dare you air our private business to the family? Now everyone's calling us, asking questions. You've humiliated us. No, Mom, you humiliated yourselves. I just told the truth. The next morning, I walked into work to find a gift basket on my desk. A congratulations on the VP position. As I was reading the card, my assistant Emma appeared. There's someone here to see you. Says he's your father. I sighed. Tell him I'm in meetings all day. He's quite insistent. Should I call security? No, I'll handle it. I squared my shoulders and walked to the reception area. Dad stood there in his best suit, the one he wore to church on Easter. His face was red with either shame or anger, probably both. Conference room, I said, leading into a private space. 5 minutes. He sat heavily in a chair. Your mother can't sleep. Jessica's crying constantly. Is that what you wanted? What I wanted was for my family to respect me, to ask before spending my money, to not celebrate my ex-fiancé with funds I provided. We were going to pay you back, he insisted. Once the gallery Jessica works at promotes her. Stop, I held up my hand. Jessica has worked part-time at that gallery for 2 years. She's not getting promoted. She lives in your basement, Dad. Daniel is a struggling photographer who left me at the altar. None of you have any way to pay me back. So you'll destroy your sister's happiness over money? We raised you better than this. I leaned forward. No, Dad, you raised me to be responsible, to work hard, to earn what I have. What happened to those values? When did it become okay to steal from your own daughter? We didn't steal, we're family. Being family doesn't give you the right to take what's mine. I have a meeting to get to. Please don't come to my workplace again. He stood straightening his suit jacket. Your mother wants to have a family dinner tonight to discuss options. My option is this. I'll consider resuming regular family contact once you all acknowledge what you did was wrong and make real changes. Jessica needs to move out and support herself. You and Mom need to handle your own finances, and Daniel needs to stay far away from me. That's your condition, abandoning your family when we need you most. My condition is being treated with basic respect. I opened the conference room door. Goodbye, Dad. That evening, I received an email from the Vineyard venue forwarded by Mom. Final notice. Payment of $32,000 required within 48 hours or contract will be voided with full retention of deposit. No extensions. Below it, Mom had written, See what you're doing to us? This is your last chance to make things right. I deleted the email and opened my banking app. My personal account, no longer drained by weekly family deposits, showed a healthy balance. The VP position came with a significant salary increase. For the first time in years, I could focus on my own future. My phone buzzed with a text from Daniel. Sarah, please. This venue means everything to Jessica. I know things ended badly between us, but can't you find it in your heart to help? For your sister's sake? I stared at his message, remembering our own wedding plans from 2 years ago. The careful budgeting, the moderate venue, the reasonable catering choices. I'd insisted on keeping costs down, on being practical. Had that been part of why he left? Because I wasn't willing to spend extravagantly on one special day. Now here he was, with my sister, planning an over-the-top wedding with stolen money. The irony was almost funny. I typed back a single response. I already paid for one wedding to you. I won't pay for a second. Then I blocked his number too.